Hi everyone, and you are very, very welcome back to the PwC Media Suite at Platform 94. Well, after the excitement of the girls' draws, it's now the turn of the lads, and we've got quite a bit to get through over the next while. We are going to be giving you draws from under 13 all the way up to under 18 and a half. And once again, just to repeat that the finals will take place in Craig's. It's going to be some occasion for all of these underage cup draws. Also must be remembered as well our thanks to Bank of Ireland, who sponsor our underage cup competitions, to Brian Carey and all involved there. Well, let's go through what we are about to do, and this is going to be a lot of fun because what we have, first of all, to start off, is our special guest. Now, this guy is no stranger to top underage rugby. Of course, a man who's part of the Irish under-20 team, sponsored by PwC, that played in last year's World Cup. A true Corinthian, a man who is currently recovering from injury, and a member of the Connacht Academy. Max Flynn, have I forgotten anything?
No, you haven't at all.
You're very welcome.
Thank you very much.
First of all, you're injured before Christmas. How's that going?
Very good, yeah. Rehab's going well.
And how long, or have you any idea regarding the timescale when you'll be back?
Not too sure, but somewhere in the region of 4 to 6 weeks. So
you've played at underage level for Corinthians. You've been in part of these cup competitions. There's something special about, from the players' point of view, you know, to be involved in these cup games. The league is great, but the cup is special. Yeah,
there's some sort of a special occasion about all the cup games. Like, it used to be brilliant getting into Dexcom Stadium. Like, would be a massive occasion, and now with the fantastic grounds in Craig's, it's nearly going to be as big an occasion down there as well, with the works going on.
There's going to be some noise in the stand in Craig's, very similar to the Clan stand, the old Clan stand.
Definitely, yeah.
Right, we're going to get on with the draw because we have, like I said, under 13s, 14s, 15s, 16s, 17s, and 18 and a half cup draws to bring you. Now, format changes slightly as well. We'll go through them as we begin each draw. And, well, the first one is actually very, very straightforward because it's a straight draw for the under 13 cup. We have got, as I look at it, we've got 22 teams involved in this competition, and Max is going to draw each of them out. As they're drawn, they'll go into their respective pools, and once that's all done, you will know who you're facing in your respective pool in the under 13 cup. So let's go through the teams that will play in the under 13 cup, and we will start with Ballyhonus. Next up, Ballinrobe, Castlebar, Carrick-on-Shannon, Ballina, Claremorris, Westport. As you can see, they're not in alphabetical order. Sligo, Connemara, Oughterard, Loughrea, Galway Bay Rugby Club, Monavea, Corinthians, Corinthians Black, Galwegians, Tuam, Dunmore, Craigs, Gort, Ballinasloe, Portumna, and finally, last but by no means least, Buccaneers. And just to remind you that each team, as they're drawn out, will go into their respective pools. First team into Pool A, then Pool B, C and D. And then there are going to be 2 pools of 6 and 2 pools of 5. Pools A and B will have 6 teams. Pools C and D will have 5 each. So Max, if you would draw the first team out and show it to the camera. The first team in the under 13 cup draw to be pulled out are Tuam. So Tuam go into Pool A. We'll take out the next team. This team will be in Pool B, and it's Craigs. First team in Pool C, and it's Connemara, Oughterard. And next up in Pool D, Corinthians Blue. So back again to Pool A, and it's Ballinasloe. So Ballinasloe are now in with Tuam. In Pool B, who's joining Craigs? Galwegians. Next up in Pool C, alongside Connemara Oughterard, Carrick-on-Shannon. And in Pool D, it's Gort. Now, this is an open draw, so anything can happen. You could see Corinthians Black going in with Corinthians Blue. Has happened before. Buccaneers are in Pool A. In Pool B, with Craigs and Galwegians, are Westport. In Pool C, it'll be a nice trip for whoever it is, Galway Bay. And in Pool D, Ballina. Okay, now back to Pool A again, and it's Monavea. Monavea in with Tuam, Ballinasloe and Buccaneers. In Pool B, Ballyhaunis. In Pool C, Portumna. And in Pool D, it's Clare Morris. So stall for a second now. Forgive my Glinsk speak for a minute. In Pool A, you've got Tuam, Ballinasloe, Buccaneers and Monavea. In Pool B, you've Craigs, Galwegians, Westport and Ballyhaunis. In Pool C, you've got Connemara, Uachtarard, Carrick-on-Shannon, Galway Bay and Portumna. And in Pool D, Corinthians Blue, Gort, Ballina and Clare Morris. So let's keep going. Our fifth team, that will be in Pool A, and that will be Loughrea. Our fifth team in Pool B are Dunmore. On to Pool C. Sligo. And in Pool D, and they are Ballinrobe. Now, just at this stage, just to remind you that Pool C and D are now complete. So it's Connemara, Uachtarard, Carrick-on-Shannon, Galway Bay, Portumna and Sligo in Pool C. And in Pool D, Corinthians Blue, Gort, Ballina, Clare Morris and Ballinrobe. There are still two teams to be drawn out. One will go into Pool A and one will go into Pool B. So Max, if you would draw for Pool A, the sixth team. And they are Castlebar. And I think there's only one team left. And my guess is correct, Corinthians Black. So we now have our groups for the Under-13 Boys Cup sponsored by Bank of Ireland, and they are as follows. In Pool A, Tuam, Ballinasloe, Buccaneers, Monavea, Loughrea and Castlebar. In Pool B, Craigs, Galwegians, Westport, Ballyhaunis, Dunmore and Corinthians Black. In Pool C, Connemara, Uachtarard, Carrick-on-Shannon, Galway Bay, Portumna and Sligo. And in Pool D, Corinthians Blue, Gort, Ballina, Clare Morris and Ballinrobe. Max, quick word with you. Now, you've kept Connemara Blue and Connemara Black apart, so they'll be very happy with you about that. But there's some really good pairings in those games, and the Under-13 Cup is great because it's the beginning of the underage journey for a lot of these players. Like yourself, they'll be hoping to advance on through the age groups and hopefully into a Connacht Academy, play at the Irish in the 20s as you did and so on. Some good games here.
Yeah, some great games. I've sad memories of the Under-13 Cup. A first round knockout to Sligo away, so not too fond memories looking back at that.
Can you actually remember the feeling it was like even before that? To be playing in the Under-13 Cup, you were now playing in a Connacht Cup competition. You might have been playing minis or 12s or whatever before that, but you're now involved in true competitive rugby.
Yeah, it was a massive step. You moved to the full pitch, 15 aside, and it seems like the biggest deal ever, the big first cup game, and it didn't go too well for us, but it was a great learning.
It was. It'll be a great experience as well, and for those, it's the start of their rugby journey, and we wish each and every one of those teams the very, very best of luck. What we are going to do now is we're going to take a break for a few seconds. We're going to get things organised because I have to tell you about the change of formats for the 14s, 15s, 16s, 17s and 18 and a half. I'll try and be quick, but it does make sense as we move on. But we're taking a break for a couple of minutes. We'll be right back. You're very welcome back. It's time for the Under-14 Boys Cup sponsored by Bank of Ireland. And I did mention before the break that there's a little change regarding formats, and it's very similar, in fact, if I say, to the Girls' Cup competitions, in which we have got the league finalists are seeded. You've got the top Division 1, bottom Division 1, top Division 2, bottom of Division 2, and the Under-14 Cup will see the teams separated into one group of 6 and 3 groups of 5. So let's get on with it. Let's not waste any time. And what we're going to do is we're going to bring you the league finalists first in no particular order. This would have been Division 1 and Division 2. So we've got Loughrea. Next up we have Carrick and Shannon. We have Dunmore. And we have Craigs. So Max, if you would, we'll draw one team for each group from those 4 teams. This is in the Under 14 Cup. And the first team out in Pool A are Dunmore. So next one out in Pool B is Carrick and Shannon. In Pool C is Craigs. And finally in Pool D, for the moment anyway, it's Loughrea. Okay, so there we have our 4 teams from our league finalists. Now we move on to our top seeds in Division 1, and they are Galway Bay, Sligo, and Buccaneers. So, Max, if you go again, one team goes into Pool A, next into Pool B and Pool C. So into Pool A we'll go Galway Bay alongside Dunmore. Into Pool B with Carrick and Shannon, we'll go Buccaneers. Into Pool C, along with Craigs, we'll go Sligo. Always a great rivalry between those particular teams. Now we're going to move to the bottom seeds in Division 1, and they are Ballina, next up, Corinthians, Westport, and finally Galwegians. So, Max, next you go again. This team will be going into Pool D alongside Loughrea, and it is Galwegians. Okay, so we now move on again, back to Pool A again, and this is Dunmore and Galway Bay, and they are joined by Corinthians. So it's going to be a local derby there between Galway Bay and Corinthians. Into Pool B, next one up are Ballina. So that is, have we any more? I think we have one more. We do, alongside Craigs and Sligo. Our Westport. So they are our bottom seeds in Division 1. So Dunmore, Galway Bay, Corinthians in Pool A. In Pool B, Carrick and Shannon, Buccaneers, Ballina. And in Pool C, Craig, Sligo and Westport. We move now to the top seeds in Division 2. And they are as follows. Ballinrobe. Next are Ballyhaunis. They're followed by Corrib. And finally, for now, Monavea. So, Max, you keep going again. And this team will go into Pool D alongside Loughrea and Galwegians, and it's Ballyhaunis. Now, into Pool A. Monavea. So, Monavea, Corinthians, Galway Bay and Dunmore in Pool B. And it's Ballinrobe. And then we have got Corrib. So Corrib now go into Pool C. Right, so we're now at the stage where we're now coming to the bottom seeds in Division 2, and this is where the rest of the pools will be made up. And remember, it's one team of 6 and 3 groups of 5. So Tuam, Gort, Castlebar, Ballinasloe, Connemara, Uachtarard, and Claremorris. So they're going in. So let's keep going. This team will go into Pool D alongside Loughrea, Galwegians and Ballyhaunis, and it's Tuam. Now, the 5th team in Pool A are Castlebar. The 5th team in Pool B are Gort. And the 5th team in Pool C are Claremorris. And 5th team in Pool D are Ballinasloe. And we have one team left which will go into Pool A, and it's Connemara Uachtarard. So we now know our pools for the Under 14 Cup sponsored by Bank of Ireland, and we'll recap them again. In Dunmore, in Pool A, Dunmore, Galway Bay, Corinthians, Monavea, Castlebar, Connemara, Uachtarard. In Pool B, Carrick and Shannon, Buccaneers, Ballina, Ballinrobe and Gort. In Pool C, Craigs, Sligo, Westport, Corrib and Claremorris. And in Pool D, Loughrea, Galwegians, Ballyhaunis, Tuam and Ballinasloe. And Max, again, a quick word for the under-14s. We talked about the excitement of the under-13s. For this age group, they'll have had the experience of under-13 the year previously. The bug will have bitten at this stage. And the under-14s, the traditionally age groups, 14s, 16s, 18s, are always seems to be the big ones. We've seen 13s, 15s, 17s increase in recent years. Again, some great games.
Yeah, definitely. Some brilliant matchups. Yeah, under-14 is another step up from the under-13s, and I'm not sure why it's quite a big occasion, but I remember fondly back to the under-14 Cup, having won it with Corinthians, so that's one of my better days in rugby.
And in fairness, after the disappointment of losing the 13s Cup final, you know, it felt like, and it would have been a huge boost as well, confidence-wise, for that particular age group to move up through it and have the disappointment of 13s to under-14s.
Yeah, massive. A lot of lads then went into the pathway in Connacht and got to experience a lot of that from that big season.
It's a great buzz to be involved at that particular age group, and we'll be talking about the under-15 draw in just a couple of moments. And once again, just to repeat, like I said, with the formats for the under-14s, 15s, 16s, 17s and 18s and a half, we are talking about top seeds, league finalists. We'll talk you through them as it happens. But that's the under-14 draw. Quick break, and we'll be back with the under-15 draw next. Oh, you're very welcome back to the PwC Media Suite here, Platform 94. We've had the under-13s and 14s cup draws. It's now time for the 15s and 16s and so on until we get to the 18s and a halves. Now, as it happens, from the 22 teams that played in the under-13 cup, it's slightly quicker as regards the draw for the under-15s, but we still have in the region of 19 teams to draw out. And again, the format, just to remind you, we've got our league finalists who are seeded, then we've got top in Division 1, bottom of Division 1, top Division 2, bottom of Division 2. And let's go with our league finalists, and we will start with Claremorris, Corrib, Craigs and Corinthians. So Max, if you would, we'll go through the first teams that will go into Pool A and so on in the under-15 Cup. And the first team out are Craigs. And the first team in Pool B, Corinthians. In Pool C, Corrib. And in Pool D, Claremorris. Right, we'll now move on to the next teams, and these are the top seeds in Division 1, and they are as follows: Galwegians, Ballinasloe, Monavea, and finally Ballina. And these will be the second teams in each of the pools. So Max, if you would, the team who are going to join Craigs in Pool A are Galwegians. In Pool B, alongside Corinthians, are Ballinasloe. In Pool C, alongside Corrib, Ballina. And in Pool D, alongside Claremorris, will be Monavea. So we have two of our teams, and I'm now going to move on very quickly because we're keeping an eye on our teams. Of course, a lot of teams still to draw out. We're going to go with the bottom teams in Division 1. So they are Westport. These are bottom seeds now, may I add. Buccaneers, Carrick and Shannon, and Sligo. So if you go again, and these will be the third teams in each of our pools. And they are Carrick and Shannon going into Pool A. In Pool B is Westport. Westport alongside Corinthians and Ballinasloe. In Pool C is Sligo. So Sligo alongside Corrib and Ballina. And finally, for the moment, Buccaneers. So we now have three of our teams. I'm going to go to the top seeds now in Division 2, and they are Loughrea, Gort, Connemara, Oughterard, and Dunmore. So Max, go again. Remember, 3 groups of 5, 1 group of 4, so a little bit to go yet. And next up are Loughrea, who go into Pool A. In Pool B, Gort. In Pool C, Dunmore. And in Pool D, Connemara Oughterard. So before we go to our last teams to draw out, remember, that's Pool D now done. Claremorris, Monavea Buccaneers and Connemara Oughterard, they are the 4 teams in Pool D. The next teams, A, B and C, they will have 5 teams, so there's still teams to be drawn out of the bottom seeds in Division 2, and they are Galway Bay. Next up are Ballinrobe and Tuam. So one of these teams will go into Pool A, one into Pool B and one into Pool C. So the team in Pool A are Galway Bay. Another local derby, of course, Galway Bay and Galwegians will lock horns in this group. In Pool B is Tuam. And in Pool C will be Ballinrobe. And I have to say, you've chosen an interesting pool in Pool C, Max, with the teams that are in it. But let's go through them all again. Pool A, Craigs, Galwegians, Carrick-on-Shannon, Loughrea and Galway Bay. In Pool B, Corinthians, Ballinasloe, Westport, Gort and Tuam. And in Pool C, Corrib, Ballina, Sligo, Dunmore and Ballinrobe. And in Pool D, Claremorris, Monavea, Buccaneers, Connemara, Oughterard. Buccaneers, Connemara, Oughterard is probably the longest journey possible as regards a team in Connacht Rugby. So whoever is going where is going to have a great day out. But there's more to it than days out, of course. These teams want to either improve on their league or consolidate what they did during the league. Again, some fantastic games there to look forward to. And at under 15, we're now entering a really interesting phase.
Yeah, definitely. Like those trips out to Connemara, you can always kind of fondly remember those, the long bus journeys. It's, regardless of the result on the day, it's always a good occasion. Yeah,
and of course, you mentioned like Connemara Oughterard, of course, like Van Gaeltacht and the trips to Carrow, and everyone enjoys those. It's a great day out, but it's an occasion, these games now. They become occasions for the clubs that host them.
Definitely, yeah. The long journeys, like although you dread them, they're always the best days out.
Yeah, and if one can get sleep on the bus, even better. Again, if they're that lucky. Some of us do, some of us don't. There's under 15 draw. We're going to take a quick break. And when we come back, we are now moving into a competition that's very close to my heart, I have to be honest with you. If you have watched these draws in the past, you will understand why. And if not, I'll explain after this. You're very welcome back to the PwC suite here, Platform 94. Now, I have to be honest with you, there is this competition I have a special affinity with, because this is the one competition I can actually claim to have won in playing rugby, and that is the Under-16 Cup with Craigs long time ago. Max, you actually played at Under-16 level, and this was around the time that the All-Ireland system was being brought into it. It didn't happen for you, unfortunately. COVID put paid to that. But to be playing in the Under-16 Cup there is something about it. I know we talk about the specialties of all the other competitions, but the Under-16, Under-18 Cups, as we mentioned, is really, really special.
Yeah, definitely. There used to be that All-Ireland Cup that the winners would always go into, so it was an even bigger driving factor to win the cup, as big as it already was. So yeah, it's definitely always a great occasion. But unfortunately, we missed out on the chance with COVID.
And it shows the longevity of such a competition that I can talk about playing in the Under-16 Cup. And that's not today nor yesterday. You can go back a good 30 odd years, if not more, and you playing more recently. It does show, though, these competitions, especially 16s, 18s, since underage rugby kind of came into the province and those competitions began, that they have just grown and become more and more important. Not just from the winning perspective, but the playing perspective, because a lot of the guys who play at under-16 level at this stage, they know what they want to do.
Yeah, it's more competitive, I'd say, even from when I was playing. Like some of the clubs outside of Galway City have definitely stepped up their game. Like even from coaching some of the underage teams in Corinthians, you can see how much more competitive it is on a wider scale in Connacht.
And it's funny because just even from my own, as somebody watching, you guys grow up, and me playing at those underage cup competitions and seeing them, it's a brilliant to see the development of young players at this age group. Yeah,
definitely. Like that's kind of an age where the Connacht program really kicks in. So everyone wants to get their day in the spotlight. So I guess it's a big occasion.
Yes, and it's a lot of fun as well when you talk to the parents and coaches too. May I add to that. But let's go with the draw for the Under-16 Cup. Again, we're going with the league finalists, top, bottom seeds, divisions 1 and 2. And the way the groups are laid out for the Under-16 Cup are as follows: 4, 4, 4 and 3. So you've got 3 groups of 4 and 1 group of 3. And we will start with our league finalists first of all, and we'll start with Dunmore. Next up are Buccaneers. We move to Corinthians Blue and Corinthians Black. And I think I can safely say, I'm not talking out of school by saying that Corinthians Blue and Black can't meet each other in the group stages. So Max, if you would, we'll go through the first team in Pool A. And they are Buccaneers. And in Pool B, Dunmore. Fantastic club, what they've done in more recent times, of course, doing very well in the Connacht Junior League. Corinthians Black are in Pool C, and in Pool D, I can write this down already, Corinthians Blue. So they are our 4 teams for the first 4 pools of the Under-16 Cup, sponsored by Bank of Ireland. Now, our top seeds in Division 1 are Galway Bay Galwegians. Next up are Craigs, and followed by Sligo. So, if you would. So these teams will go into pools A, B and C. So who's going in with Buccaneers? Craigs in Pool B, alongside Dunmore. Galway Bay Galwegians. And in Pool C, alongside Corinthians Black or Sligo. I don't know who in Corinthians or Sligo is going to hate you more. He seems to be drawing them all the time. Let's go with the next ones, and these are the bottom seeds in Division 1. And we have got Ballina and finally Westport. So there are 2. So Max, if you would. This team will go into Pool D alongside Corinthians Blue. And they are Ballina. Of course, play at Heffernan Park or the old Craigs Road. And the first team in Pool A are going to be Westport. Westport, and they're alongside Buccaneers and Craigs. Now, our top seeds in Division 2 are Ballinrobe, Claremorris, and Carrick on Shannon. So, Max, as I look at it, the next team are going to go into Pool B. They'll be the 3rd team in Pool B alongside Dunmore and Galway Bay Galwegians, and it's Ballinrobe. Our next team in Pool C, they are Claremorris. And next in Pool D, and they are Carrick on Shannon. Now, at this point, I just want to remind everyone that Pool D is now finished. So we now have our 3 teams in Pool D, and that is Corinthians Blue, Ballina, and Carrick on Shannon. And we still have 3 teams to draw, and these will make up the remainders of Pools A, B, and C. And they are Gort, Castlebar, and finally Ballinasloe. So, Max, if you would. So the first team to go into Pool A, and they are Castlebar. So we have a local derby in Mayo, Castlebar and Westport in Pool A. In Pool B is Ballinasloe. Almost an all Galway group actually, bar Ballinrobe. And finally Gort are in Pool C. There you have it. The draw is now complete for the group stages of the Connacht Boys Under-16 Cup, sponsored by Bank of Ireland. And the pools are as follows. In Pool A, Buccaneers, Craigs, Westport and Castlebar. In Pool B, Dunmore, Galway Bay Galwegians, Ballinrobe and Ballinasloe. In Pool C, Corinthians Black, Sligo, Claremorris and Gort. And in Pool D, Corinthians Blue, Ballina and Carrick on Shannon. I know we talked before the draw about how big a competition this is, but I see an all local derby, Westport, Castlebar. I see nearly an all Galway group with Dunmore, Galway Bay Galwegians and Ballinasloe. Corinthians Black and Sligo. Old rivals.
Yeah, definitely.
That's going to be tasty. And Corinthians Blue, Ballina, Carrick and Shannon, wide open group.
Yeah, definitely. My younger brother actually plays in that Corinthians age group, so I don't know he'll be too happy with me drawing them Sligo, so that'll be a tough game.
I think they'll be hoping for a home draw. We won't know that until the fixtures are announced, and that's one thing I want to make clear as well. Of course, the all fixtures just for all of the underage boys cup draws are going to be up on the Connacht Rugby website very, very shortly. So if you want to see the fixtures, dates, kick-off times and all that, keep an eye on the Connacht Rugby website for more details on that. We're not finished yet. We've still got 2 cup draws to bring you, under 17 and under 18 and a half, and all of that is coming up next. You're very welcome back. It's now time for the boys under 17 cup draw, sponsored by Bank of Ireland. Max Flynn is still with me. Max, you're a very patient man, in fairness to you. We've gone through a lot of draws. But before we go to the under 17 cup draw, as we see, and people are very, very excited. There is something, we always talk about the excitement of the competition, the excitement of the development of these players. But it's good old-fashioned rugby as well. It's a good old game.
Yeah, definitely. It's at this age, it's a lot more tactical and technical. Like, lads are really developed at that age and a lot more physical. So like it is a great spectacle for even just for the general rugby fan to go down and watch at this age. You'll always get a good game of rugby. You will. You'll never be short of a cracking game of rugby at this age group, and at under 18 and a half. We'll talk about that in a moment. Just to talk about the format for this, it's again the same way. League finalists, top Division 1, Division 2 and so on and so forth. We're going to have 4 pools of 4, so it's straightforward, and we wish every team the very best of luck. I'm going to go to the league finalists. By the way, I know one or two of you have been commenting, what's those markings on the cards? It's for my own benefit, to be brutally honest with you, because if I didn't have them written down like this, like a league finalist LF, we would be here all night. So that's the reason why I have that written down. The cards are not marked before some of you smart people come in with comments. Anyway, let's move to our league finalists, and we'll start with Ballinasloe. And next up, Carrick on Shannon. We move to Corinthians, and from Corinthian Park all the way down the motorway to Athlone and Buccaneers. So Max, if you would. First teams out for each of the pools in Pool A, and it will be Carrick and Shannon. And you know what, it does show, of course, how a team have progressed and how their development have progressed. We see clubs like Carrick and Shannon being named as league finalists. Corinthians are in Pool B. In Pool C is Ballinasloe, and in Pool D, and that is Buccaneers. So there are our first 4 teams of our league finalists. Our top seeds in Division 1 are Galwegians, Craigs and Galway Bay. And already I can see a couple of interesting pairings if it happens that particular way. Of course, everything is open draw, as you can see. And Galway Bay are in with Carrick and Shannon. So who's with Corinthians? And it is Galwegians. Oh, that would be some match. And Ballinasloe will face Craigs. So already I'm seeing some cracking pairings there. Carrick and Shannon Galway Bay will be a humdinger of a game as well. Now we move on to the bottom seeds in Division 1, and they are Westport, Monavea and Sligo. So Max, if you go again. And this is the next team in Pool D. So Sligo will be alongside Buccaneers. So back to Pool A again. Carrick and Shannon and Galway Bay, and it will be Monavea joining them. And in Pool B is Westport. So we now have 2 of the pools have 3 teams at the minute, and 2 of the groups, I should say, have 2. Now, moving on to our next, and these are the top seeds in Division 2. So they're Ballina and Loughrea. So next, go again, and these will actually make up Pool C and Pool D, and then we move on to our, so we'll have 3 teams in each group. So Ballina going into Pool C, and in Pool D, it is Loughrea. So I'm going to recap before we move into our last teams in the Under-17 Cup draw. Pool A are Carrick and Shannon, Galway Bay and Monavea.
Pool B are Corinthians, Galwegians and Westport. In Pool C, Ballinasloe, Craigs and Ballina. And in Pool D, Buccaneers, Sligo and Loughrea. Now our bottom seeds in Division 2, and there are 4 teams. They are Tuam. Next up, Ballinrobe, Ballyhaunis, and finally Connemara Oughterard. So Max, 4 teams left in the Under-17 Cup. Who is in Pool A with Carrick-on-Shannon, Galway Bay and Monavea? And they are Ballinrobe. So Ballinrobe are in Pool A. In Pool B, it's Tuam. In Pool C, of course these teams all play each other, Connemara Oughterard. And finally, Ballyhaunis. We have our 4 pools for the Connacht Under-17 Boys Cup, sponsored by Bank of Ireland, and they are as follows. Pool A, Carrick-on-Shannon, Galway Bay, Monavea and Ballinrobe. In Pool B, you have Corinthians, Galwegians, Westport and Tuam. Pool C, Ballinasloe, Craigs, Ballina and Connemara Oughterard. And in Pool D, you have Buccaneers, Sligo, Loughrea and Ballyhaunis. And we talked about the Under-17 Cup, and again looking at those pairings, looking at those pools. Corinthians Wegians obviously would be a massive game, whether it's in Corinthian Park or in Glenina. Craigs, Ballinasloe, the same thing. Whoever goes to Connemara Oughterard will have it tough. Buccaneers, Sligo, Loughrea, Ballyhaunis, Galway Bay, I could pick 10, 12 games out of all of those, and each and every one of them will be a cracker.
Yeah, very competitive there. Buccaneers Sligo is a big one to look out for. I'd say it'd be a great game. Yeah,
well, and both, of course, academies, fantastic. Also big schools as well, involved in the game in the under-17 level. So these guys will be playing Connacht Junior Schools Cup as well. So the standard will be incredibly high right across the board.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, having that schools Cup experience definitely brings the level on another bit.
And brings the crowds to the ground, brings the crowds to the games as well. Right, we have nearly completed all of the draws, but there is still one cup draw left. And I'm afraid to say it, but I think I might anyway. The Under-18.5 Cup really is seen as the blue ribbon as regards underage cup rugby in any province in the country. And we have the draw for that next. You're very welcome back to the PwC suite here at Platform 94 on the Merview Industrial Estate. And the reason we are here, as we have been right throughout, is for the Connacht Underage Cup draws, sponsored by Bank of Ireland. And we are now reaching what would be the pinnacle for a lot of underage rugby players, and that is the Under-18.5 Boys Cup draw. Max Flynn still here with me. And Max, as we look at the teams, and there's 13 teams involved, a few amalgamations in there, but of course the important thing is they're getting rugby, and these are teams that could be a bit of a force to be reckoned with later on.
Yeah, definitely. The amalgamations, it seems to be a great move for those teams like around the province, making sure that everyone still gets a good level of rugby. You know, you see less of a drop off then coming into the under-20 and senior game. So once everyone's playing rugby, and I'm sure it'll make for a few strong teams.
Oh yeah, and the great thing about it is that it does keep guys in the game. You know, sometimes at under-18 level, and we've talked so much about this and different things in the past. There's been the fear of lads not taking up the game because there's no game for them. But for these lads now, there is an opportunity.
Yeah, definitely. Like it's great to keep everyone playing rugby, or to keep as many people as possible. Whether or not it's probably difficult training wise, but once you're playing games, that's what everyone wants.
Yeah, that's a nice spin from for a few of them, especially Castlebar and Westport for example. But let's move on to the draw now. The way it works out, of course, we still have our league finalists, tops and bottom seeds, divisions 1 and 2. And the way it's going to work out, there will be one pool of 4 teams and 3 pools of 3. And that's how it is going to work. So we'll start with our league finalists. It's interesting, Max, I'm just noticing the 4 league finalists. None of what you might argue the kind of established names are there. We'll go through them first before I get your thoughts on that. We've got Loughrea, we have got Ballinasloe. I'm probably going to get in trouble for saying that. We've got Sligo, especially from Sligo, and we've got Carrick-on-Shannon. But just to mention that, I mean, Carrick-on-Shannon, you were talking about Jeremy O'Connell, fantastic player. No doubt will be part of the academy in the future. But the clubs like Carrick-on-Shannon are developing players now, and they're coming through the ranks, and they're no longer what people might see as a weak team because they're up there on their own merit.
Yeah, definitely. Like it's a club on the up, Carrick and Shannon. Like if you look at someone like Dermot, like it's just he's nearly like a role model for those younger lads in the younger age groups. They can see that it is possible. Like even though Carrick and Shannon is a perceived smaller club, but they're doing great in nearly every age group.
Yeah, it's wonderful to see, and the fact that, you know, the likes of Carrick and Shannon, of course, Loughrea, Sligo, still one of the old stages, and of course Sligo Grammar, you know, Summerhill, two great schools at rugby level, you know, they're still up there as well. So we're now seeing a nice mixture of the established and unestablished. If that's, I'm probably going to get told off for calling different teams unestablished, but as time has moved on, they've become the establishment themselves.
Yeah, definitely. My Corinthians bias would rather see them just up at the top every time, but it's great to see such a mix at every age group. It's not just the same teams coming up over and over again as it kind of used to be, I'd say.
Well, the traditional status quo has definitely been knocked on its head, and we've got 4 teams to pick. So will you draw out the first one for Pool A? And this team will go into Pool A. Of course, this will be the 4-team pool, and it's Sligo. Sligo in Pool A. Now we move on to Ballinasloe in Pool B. In Pool C will be Carrick and Shannon. And in Pool D will be Loughrea. So there we have it. There are the teams that have started off the pools A, B, C and D. Now we go to our top seeds in Division 1, and they are Galwegians, Buccaneers, and next up are Ballina. So Max, if you go again. So this will be in Pool A alongside Sligo, and it's Ballina. In Pool B will be Galwegians, and in Pool C, alongside Carrick and Shannon, will be Buccaneers. That would be a cracker of a game, whether it's in Carrick or whether it's in Dewberry Park. Now we'll go to the bottom seeds in Division 1, and there are Corinthians, and next up, Connemara, Oop-Derard. So, if you would, this team will go into Pool D alongside Loughrea, and it's Corinthians. And next, then we now move into our 3rd team in Pool A, and that's Connemara, Oop-Derard. So, Sligo, Ballina and Connemara, Oop-Derard. To our top seeds in Division 2, they are Claremorris and Castlebar, Westport, one of the amalgamated teams we were talking about a little bit earlier on. So it's going to be Ballinasloe, Galwegians and Castlebar, Westport. Our next team in Pool C, that is Claremorris. So we now have the situation, Pools A, B and C with 3 teams in it. Pool D are next, but we still have 2 more teams to draw out. And they are our bottom seeds in Division 2. And they are another amalgamated side, and that's Craig's Monavea. And next up, Corrib. So one of these teams will go into Pool D, and one will go into Pool A. So who's going to be the 3rd team in Pool D? Corrib. And finally, the last team to be drawn out, this team will be in Pool A, is Craig's Monavea. So we have our teams and our pools for the under 18.5 boys cup sponsored by Bank of Ireland are as follows. In Pool A, Sligo, Ballina, Connemara, Oop-Derard and Craig's Monavea. Pool B will be Ballinasloe, Galwegians and Castlebar, Westport. Pool C, Carrick and Shannon, Buccaneers and Claremorris. And in Pool D, Loughrea, Corinthians and Corrib. And Max, a final word on these, the under 18.5 cup. Again, you've featured in this. This is the one where the crowds, there are massive crowds. These guys are still on the, for some of them, they're already on the edge of maybe their club senior teams or under 20 teams. They're getting rugby, and it always seems to be a nice day when these finals are taking place. The under 18.5 cup is going to be fantastic looking at those games and look at the pairings.
Yeah, it's definitely, it's the last step before men's rugby, so it's it's a big one for everybody, and it does draw out those big crowds.
Yeah, it's going to be, look, I can't wait to see how those games go. And before we just move on, of course, just to remind you, finals for all the underage cup competitions, whether it be boys or girls, will take place at Craig's Rugby Football Club. The fixtures for all of the underage cup competitions will be available shortly on connachtrugby.ie. And all that's left for us to say is a very special word of thanks, by the way, to Enda and Niamh here at Platform 94 in the PwC suite, to Zoe and Cathal at Connacht Rugby, who've been working furiously behind the scenes to make sure everything that was done was ready to go. A special word, of course, Max, thank you very much for joining us.
Thank you.
Good
My
to
pleasure.
see. Good to see you. A special word of thanks also to Orla Dixon, who helped us with the Girls' Cup draws. And to you, thanks very much indeed for watching. And we wish you the very, very best of luck in whatever competition you're involved in over the coming weeks. May it be a good one. But from all of us here, and of course, I must not forget our sponsors, Bank of Ireland, Brian Carey, thank you very much indeed, sir, for your support. But for all of us here in Platform 94 in the PwC suite, thanks indeed for watching, and the best of luck in your respective competitions. Bye-bye.